In my life, I have grown to appreciate three things, these being my family and friends, Silksong and the sea. On the latter two we shall focus today in this episode of Deep Talk Proletarian. It is not common to link two topics like this together, but I have grown fond of the idea of making more exotic types of videos. For all of you who don't know, Theodor Storm was a North German literate who wrote short stories and poems often centered around his North German home, more accurately, the sea. Especially his poem The City has become a favorite of mine and will probably be displayed on screen right now. For all of his work though, I believe none can surpass his last masterpiece, which he wrote and completed shortly before his death. The Tale of the Rider on the White Horse, known as the Schimmelreiter in German. This is the part where the screen fades to black and I tell the story goodbye.
Bei dem Herbst die Nächte rausen und die Friesen alle blau sind, taucht der Schimmelreiter auf.
The whole tale tells the story of a young man from northern Frisia named Hauke Haien. Hauke is the son of a farmer, but becomes fascinated with the dikes along the coast and imagines himself bettering them, so that they would be stronger against wind and storm. Inevitably, as it is with these 19th century stories, Hauke falls in love with the daughter of the local Dijkgraaf, basically the top boss of the dikes and the town. Hauke becomes this guy's second in command, angering a more senior worker by the name of Ole Peters, who also aspired to be second. As time passes, Hauke's father dies and he becomes married to the Dijkgraaf daughter, whose parents also died. Odd. Hauke continues his work and plans to expand the dikes, but people slowly growing more suspicious of him. Not only is he seen riding a white horse, which the locals believe to be a resurrected skeleton, but his new dike also misses the traditional sacrifice, since Hauke refuses to kill someone for his new expansion of the dikes. One stormy night, near the end of the tale, the older dikes break, and Hauke rides to the breaking point. His efforts to save the land are futile, and he has to witness his wife and daughter, who are looking for him in the night, getting swept away by the endless sea. In utter agony, Hauke rides into the sea himself with his white horse, screaming, "Lord, take me, spare the others," before being taken over by the floods forever. The novella ends with the author telling that at times the ghost of Hauke Haien is seen patrolling the dikes, and that the one built by Hauke still stands until this day. Personally, this is one of my favorite stories. It combines a lot of the eerie, mythical elements with a tragic yet somber ending. Along with being a great read, this novella also has the duality of the sea incorporated into its tale. The sea is not only omnipresent, but also dangerous and aggressive, yet calm and still as well. It is an element of nature as much as it's something that humans will obviously try to control. Hauke ultimately tried to master the sea before it doomed him and his family, yet his work managed to secure the village and the locals for the future, since his dike, well, still stands to the end of the tale. Now you must be thinking, DDP, you absolute nutjob. How in the ever-flipping flip will you come back from Northern Frisian dike tales to a Metroidvania game made by some dudes in Australia? Surely there's nothing that combines these two, so your point... Oh, I see. The sea is an element which we haven't encountered much in Hollow Knight before. Sure, there were the royal waterways, which most people dislike. Sure, there were some fishes in the Silksong trailer, but nothing major. My hope for Silksong is that the element of water will be much more prevalent. Seemingly the promo material might prove just that. We already have two water-themed areas that might either be a part of each other or are two separate ones, something which I hope for. The core forest I already talked about in my previous video, which you can check out in the info box up above. It has a big water theme going on with corals all over the area, fish-like creatures roaming it, and some water temples. The area itself might not be underwater, but perhaps Silksong will give us some swimming technique The other area has been known as the Ancient Sea by the fandom, a dark, gloomy area some speculate a transition from Greymoor to Core Forest, or vice versa. The area's inhabitants include small crab-like enemies, an elderly shell character in a barnacle village, and well, that's basically it. One might call it the old shell in the sea. Underwater fighting or exploration would be a whole new deal in Silksong. It was originally planned for Hollow Knight, but never incorporated. Since Silksong seems to take old ideas for Hollow Knight and implements them in a new way, perhaps we can get a Hornet diving level after all. The Ancient Sea definitely is the most interesting of all these new areas, and currently my hot pick for best area design, along with Moss Grotto. The water theming is very obvious in its design, background characters and enemies. The background barnacles seem to be part of a bigger cave or barnacle structure, Hornet having to ascend this area upwards. The other screenshot centering around Elder Shell is interesting for similar aspects. The background is roughly the same, perhaps a bit more to the right. His shell is noticeable on the left as well, so perhaps there is a whole new village of these creatures, seeing as there are multiple barnacle houses as well. Someone even proposed to me that they might be some sort of river crossing character, like a ferryman. Some interesting stuff in the background include these odd pins in the village, along with these weird bells in the foreground. The village seems to continue on the right, its exact measurement unclear to see, or it might only be Elder Shell's house and he is one of these lone characters, shielded off by the citadel, similar to the Huntress. The absence of caste or citadel-like characters is telling. No symbols seen here, even though it is seen in the Deep Docks, Greymoor, etc. Perhaps this area is split off from the rest of the kingdom, similar to the low intelligent bugs in the grotto or the ant tribe. The dark and gloomy waters of this area are noticeably different from the bright areas of the core forest. Maybe the waterfalls of the core area drop down into this darker cave, similar to the rain coming from the giant lake dropping into the City of Tears in Hollow Knight. This brings us finally back to the element of sea. In the beginning I mentioned that the sea can stand for many different things, from peril to hope. Similar to Hauke in his novella, perhaps Hornet will have to help out these creatures in the Ancient Sea area, fight against the looming oppression of the cast and its members. Will the sea be a gameplay element, something which might help Hornet, or will it prove a challenge, a danger unforeseen? But not only this theme combines the two, for Hauke in his story had to battle the forces of nature, along with the traditional beliefs of the common folk. In Farlum's Folly, we can already hear of a beast nature, possibly the inner nature of the kingdom itself, attacking the bugs of Farlum, for they have forgotten their duty to the heart of the land. Similar forces of nature plunged Hauke and his family into the depths and brought an end to his tragic life. Perhaps Hornet's end will be sealed too? What do you believe? What is your opinion on these areas? Give your ideas down in the comments below. Don't forget to join the Discord and follow me on Twitter and check out the channels I'm subscribed to. It would be greatly appreciated. Let me end this episode with the final scene of the Rider on the White Horse movie. Enjoy and speak soon.
Durch den Bruch ins offene Meer getrieben.
Gott hat das Opfer angenommen. Das Wasser ist gefallen, das Dorf verschont. Aber den neuen Deich, den Hauke Hein nach ihm von Gott verliehener Einsicht erbaut hat, wird niemand von euch brechen sehen.